Okay, so this is my project for math, the 9 weeks project, I guess. Geometry is actually used a lot in our world to me, mainly it looks like we need geometry. We need to know the shapes and how everything works in order to build stuff, and actually for anything to actually work right. It's all about balance, I guess, symmetry and stuff like that. So these are the things that I noticed in skateboarding about how these are the things I noticed in skateboarding on how geometry is actually involved. So yeah. So how does skateboarding end up actually having anything to do with geometry? Well, you might be surprised that in skateboarding we do have the same type of angles, lines, like perpendicular lines, rays and angles, parallel lines, stuff like that, and here are the examples, and that will basically show how to me geometry is in skateboarding. So, yeah. So I guess the easiest example of geometry in skateboarding would be down handrails, and handrails have a slope, so that's what makes them steep and at a downward angle. So yeah. Since we're on the topic of handrails, another geometry thing that you can see are perpendicular lines. Like when you're riding when you're riding on the rail on a board slide, the board goes one way and then the rails one way, and then it makes a perpendicular, intersects perpendicularly, as shown in this picture here. Yeah. Next I'm going to start skew lines. Most people like to say skew because it sounds funny. Anyways, so skew lines are like lines that will never touch ever, and are like sort of on different planes. Like they could look like they're going to touch, but they will never touch. Kind of like with this picture of a truck here. There is a more simple and obvious one. The two sides of a skateboard deck can be seen as line segments. So yeah, that's all I pretty much have to say about that one. Now on to planes. Kind of a more of a kind of a complicated, more thought process with planes. But if you look at it right, it's just like kind of like square box-like shapes, or trapezoids and stuff like that. And in skateboarding, we have these things called fun boxes, where I looked at it and I thought, oh, okay, the top of the fun box could be seen as a plane, or each side of the fun box. So yeah, there's an example of that. Then you have rays and angles, like in this picture of a 5-0 on a handrail. When the board is up like that and the rail is pointing at a different direction, you get a angle, kind of like shape. You get a shape of an angle coming out of it, kind of like I don't know how many degrees it is. What's an acute angle? You get an acute angle coming out of it while you're doing a trick like that. Also, then you have parallel lines, and this is a trick of a 50-50 down a handrail. And when you're going down the handrail, the rail has a line going one way, and then your direction and your board is another line going the same direction, just on top, just over it, and you are now parallel to the rail. So. And there, yeah, that's the end of my project. So yeah, that's how I see geometry in our world through skateboarding. Thank you.